No, that's what we're not gonna do. This one makes me really angry. That's old, that's tired. No.
Say hi, you say hi, we stay high, you look so pretty, yeah.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Jordan, not Jourdain. Every year people do this trend where we talk about trends and concepts that we need to leave behind, and people do that every year. There's nothing new with that, but this year has been a freaking whirlwind. So much stuff has gone down, and so I feel like the videos that come out this year are gonna be extra, how do you say, they're gonna have a little bit of extra comment tu dis, je ne sais quoi. Without further ado, we're gonna get into it, and yeah. Okay, so the first thing that we're leaving in 2020 is quite obvious. I think we can all agree. I heard that if you say it, you'll get demonetized. So I don't want to say it. She just needs to demonizing people for things like fast fashion and like taking part in capitalism. Like, I understand, I'm not justifying it before you come for me in the comments, but I'm just saying, compared to some, it's shizai. Like, buying things sustainably costs a lot of freaking money. Like, sustainable brands tend to charge more. No duh, not a lot of people can afford that. So like, I'm gonna need y'all to step off of people's neck if you see them purchasing from freaking Zara or Shein or H&M. Like, if you really have a problem with fast fashion, create a brand, ethically source it, make it affordable to the people. And I'm sure there are affordable ones out there, but I'm just saying, like, widely available, it's really tough. And I think that we need to stop demonizing people for purchasing and like taking part in like an issue that wasn't created by them. Why are we upset at the consumer and not the corporation? The people would like to know. Anyways, next. Okay, so this one is a little bit personal, but I still think we need to leave this in 2020. So I work in a restaurant, and for contact tracing, we need to take down people's phone numbers along with their names. And I swear, every single shift there is like 2 to 3 guests who just don't want to give me their number, and they'll like catch an attitude and they'll be super suspicious and they'll be like, why do you need my number? Okay, we've been in lockdown for a couple months now. This cannot have been the first restaurant you've gone into. I know this is not the first restaurant you've gone into. So why is it so hard to understand that we need to take your number so that in the case of an outbreak, we can let you know that there has been one, or we can ask you where you've been in case you're the one who transmitted it. Or you know what? Let's do it your way. I would take down your number. You can go la-di-da, walk around in the restaurant, do your thing, God forbid, but let's say there's an outbreak. Oh, we can't contact you. Whoops. You have it. You don't know. We have no way to tell you. You know why? Because you wouldn't let me take down your number. It's not that hard. I think we should have been shut down, like, altogether, but that's for Bonnie Henry to decide. But like, so there's been like a bunch of different scandals in different communities, like throughout the entire year. YouTube, TikTok, in the fashion industry, you know, there's the whole Fenty thing. And so like, I'm not gonna touch on any in specific. One thing we need to leave in 2020 is accepting apologies on behalf of a community that we're not a part of. If there is a community that's upset because of something a group, a corporation, or a certain person did or said to them, and you are not a part of that community, and you're like, it's not a big deal, you know what, I forgive you, you know what, I'm not blank, but I forgive you. That's not your place. Because you're not a part of that community, you don't understand the nuance of that particular issue. And so the extent of their offense, like, is not going to align with yours. And even in that case, that community isn't a monolith, so not everyone is going to have the same opinion, but you for damn sure have no right and like no say in the issue. No one gives a crap that you accept their apology, because the apology wasn't yours to accept. So I'm gonna need you to get your nose out of their business and mind your own, because you're doing too much at that point. I see this more so on TikTok. I'm gonna be referencing a lot of TikTok issues, but they are present other places. But I see this more so on TikTok. When you see a video of someone that you find attractive, the comments, especially for girls, I find more so, the comments have gotten extremely toxic, but not in the way that you think. People don't outright insult the girl, but they compare themselves to the person in the video, and like that discrepancy makes them insecure, and they'll say things like, I guess I won't eat now, and that is so incredibly toxic. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have insecurities, because everyone has insecurities. They're an inevitable part of life, but when you go and like you take that extra step to comment on someone's, how do you think that makes them feel? Like that they're responsible for like you doing something that will essentially harm you? It's not just one comment. It'll be like, if the video goes viral, it'll be a comment section with like 50,000. Like they can't even really say anything because it's not directed at them per se, but at the same time they know it was as a result of their posting. And I feel like people should be able to, you know, post videos and content of them having fun and just being themselves without having to worry about inadvertently like hurting someone just by existing. I think I'm gonna touch on it lately because I don't have time today, is the whole dark skin versus light skins debate.
Editing again. Formal term is colorism, by the way.
You look dumb. You look dumb. That's all I'm gonna say. Next, race fishing. So, this one makes me really angry. It's just really frustrating because all of these marginalized groups have been discriminated against, denied opportunities, and have had barriers to success. And then to have white people fit off of them, and also the use, not only like features, but also the use of AAVE, African American vernacular. There will be people who you know for a fact grew up in a suburb, and they'll be using AAVE, and like you know what I'm talking about. They'll be talking like this when they're with their friends, but the second the camera is on, it's like her, ochre, sis, and it's stop it.
Okay, so I'm editing here, and I just wanted to clarify that the issue isn't using the language, because I understand a lot of slang popular terms are from AAVE. The issue is when you adopt it and like make it your personality, because there's a difference between using certain words and then having it be like your vernacular, and people will do that and they'll build platforms based off of this when you know for a fact like that's not the way that they actually speak, and the areas that they're raised in aren't conducive to having that vernacular, if that makes sense. So it's like, no, that's when it's an issue. I just want to make sure that like it wasn't confused. Like you can say cis or whatever, you know, but like just don't make AAVE like and like profit off of it. Specifically when you profit off of it, that's when it's an issue.
Knock it off. It's just really frustrating because the same things that were barriers to success for people of color, they not only get to adopt and gain notoriety off of, but they also monetize it, and that's what really gets me. Just like white people, knock it off. Just knock it off. Next thing that we need to leave in 2020 is obsession with individuality. And before you cancel me, explain.
I think the whole idea behind the be yourself, be original movement was,
it's like, don't do things and take part of things because you're conforming. Do it because it genuinely makes you happy and because you actually like want to be a part of it. But I think that we took it so far that it's like, if you like anything that is a part of the collective, or if you like anything that's mainstream, you're not individual, you're a follower. And so now it's created this huge fear, and people have this huge fear of liking things, or like not even a fear, like an aversion to liking things that a lot of people tend to like. And so people go out of their way to be unique, and because so many people are going out of their way to be unique and like things that are outside of the mainstream, they end up making that very thing that they're running towards. Mainstream, most recent example of this is alt TikTok. You know, the alternative look was definitely, and still is in some cases, frowned upon. But like, I think like in quarantine too, we saw like this resurgence. It became this thing where a bunch of people like flocked to that, and they're like, look at me, like I'm other, like you basic visco people could never. And then it became so oversaturated that now people are looking around, they're like, huh, this is the new basic. And there's some people who genuinely, like, that's genuinely their style and that's genuinely their form of expression and individuality. But there are other people who just did it as a trend. This obsession with individuality just made us even more, like, inadvertently made us even more unoriginal, I think. And I wholeheartedly believe in self-expression and like expressing yourself as an individual. But when you're putting down things that are mainstream because you're so different and you're so unique, that's when it's an issue. How else was I supposed to... Mom, I'm filming. How else was I supposed to find... Yeah, I'm wearing my cloud jammies. I was banking on the fact that you wouldn't see my lower body, but I guess the cat's out of the bag. Anyways, yeah, so I think individuality is very overrated, self-expression isn't, and as long as you are making choices based off of your preferences, what you like, and not conformity, that's where the issue lies. Like, I think the whole be yourself thing is just like, don't conform to the masses because of pressure. Like, if you're conforming, like, at least make sure that it's something you actually like. Don't be afraid of not being original. There is power in being basic. But maybe that's just because I'm biased. Anyways, thank you for watching. So that concludes today's video. I know that not all of them were tangible, and they're more like social constructs and like issues and things like that. But let me know down below what you think.